Mabugile Makaya. Welcome to yet another beautiful episode of Sistas We Can. My name is Lady N Mahlako Mohuwe and I'm your host. Jeng Enjoyer in studio. I've got my lovely co-host and our lovely guest, Ladies Ninjani. Viewers
Like always, my name is Bongi Gladness and welcome to Sistas We Can.
I'm Lisa Hokunika and welcome.
Kekelete Tilani, welcome to Sistas We Can.
Babugeli njengoba besithembisile last week ukuthi sizoletha umuntu onolwazi olukhulu ngendaba topic ye depression and anxiety. So uSisileseho is joining us today. Uzositshela kabanzi ukuthi yini kahle kahle lento abayibize, especially thina abantu abamnyama. uSisileseho re batlo tseba hore depression le anxiety ke before ba romela ko dikerekeng ba lo customer demoni, before ba romela ba re itse ke so ke kopa today nje o itse ke o re jwetsa ba usitshele ngabanzi kabanzi ngezulu ne. You know Zulu, my friend? You don't know what? Usitshele kabanzi ukuthi depression and anxiety. But before siqala, can you please introduce yourself?
Okay. So my name is Liseho Kunika, as I said. I'm a registered counselor with the Health Profession Council of South Africa. I'm also a life coach and a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner. Yeah, maybe just to give you more information, a registered counselor is somebody who, in terms of levels in our profession, is a bit lower than a psychologist. So you wouldn't come to me to diagnose you with depression or anxiety, but I can help you with the treatment. And we also do screening. So there's things that we are taught that help us in terms of identifying it and then referring you to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And then the life coaching. With life coaching, it's more in terms of what goals do you have. And then the NLP part. So life coaching will take you from point A to point B. And then NLP, if you are having problems with moving from point A to point B, NLP is there to assist you in terms of what is it that's stopping you from reaching your goals and all of that. So sometimes you may find that you're not depression or anxiety is the one that's stopping you. So we're able to help you with techniques for you to reach your goals.
So I just want to find out, hey, what neuro-linguistic
programming.
So basically it's the language of the mind.
Yes.
Yeah, NLP is the language of the mind.
Yes.
I'm right, right? Osleseho, ke depression. Akere nka Sotho man. Ke depression ehle.
Ha re bua ka depression re bua ka mood disorder. So ke bolwetsi ba tlhaloganyo. Bolwetsi ba tlhaloganyo bo ileng gore bo affecta mood wa hao gore o ikutlwa byang. So batho ba ileng gore ba na le depression o fitlhela ile gore they are feeling low, they are feeling hopeless. Ke gona mo, but then we know even last week in le bua gore life ke life ina le di ups and downs ha o le up vela you will feel, and then how le down you will feel down. But the thing ka depression ke gore e tsa nako etelle ha o khone ho tswa mo that mood, even if gona le other things tse di rahalang tse leng hore ha o lebeletse ka matho how you are expecting a person to be happy, they just find themselves e le gore ha ba siama because
So Mara, what are the triggers when I was listening? There must be a trigger. Unga se re khona no inekile happy, the next thing ausani ke tsoa my mood is low. There must be something that triggers that. Is it something that I think about, or maybe into a boning, or I mean, there are people who can switch from 1 to 100. Then in the next hour, Salim, King, I don't know, you know. So what triggers those emotions?
Okay, I get right. The way we have our senses. So we receive information from the outside through our eyes, our ears, tasty, touchy, and smell again. So the programming part of that NLP, ibuaka the tapes, it's what you say about what's happening. So now we can go through the same thing. We can lose a parent, but depressed, I'm not depressed. Why? Because of how input what did I do with that information? So that's basically what happens. So the thing is not really about what's happening out there, but it's about what's happening.
Oh, that's very profound.
So that's why it's often said that battlefield is in the mind, right?
Exactly.
So it's like the anxiety part of it, I guess, the way I'm hearing. It's like now the anxiousness is the one that now causes depression. Or what?
Well, depressionally, anxiety, banalo ho di bitsa di comorbid disorders.
Yes.
And I think in the previous episode you had, the guest and you also shared your story, Hori, you had anxiety and there was depression and all of that. So, dina le ka mokgwa e leng hore di affectana ka teng, because I'll give you an example. Let's say walwala, and then o tshwere ke whatever disease e o tshwereng. And then you can't seem to find a way more that mood you're feeling sad, you're feeling low, because remember, with depression it's about being overwhelmed, and then with anxiety it's about not having control over the situation. So people people by long hore bastaraka depression, in most cases you find that they are more oriented towards the past, towards facts, or this is what's happening to me, I can't cope, because they have reached limit in terms of what they can cope with. Yes. And people by long hore ba struggle a lot with anxiety, or just trying to understand it. In most cases it's people by long hore over to control the situation, but because you don't have power over the outcomes, then you become anxious. But I also have to mention, it's all about when you feel that, what does it do to your life? Does it impair your daily functioning now? Because anxiety is normal. I mean, me coming to the studio, this is not my thing. I felt anxiety, but I was able to talk. I could feel my heart pounding. I could feel her, okay. But it's because in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, this is very important. So, ibile thing, but as soon as I start talking, but someone or analembo thata ba anxiety, then ya irahala, and then itlhahale ka nako tse eleng hore there's nothing eleng hore ya tshosa.
It's so sad. Okay. Those like bajwang bauli li wana di panic attack. It's really on anxiety.
Yes. You could be, like I said, hore input, you could be in traffic, and then something in your mind, bolella hore or uno ipolella hore go tlo ba le accident or whatever, and then you start having that panic attack, or hopefully something that happened in the past because there's a trigger somewhere. And then
asibambe lapha olisego babukeli, let's take a short break. We'll be back siqhubeke ngale topic yethu ye depression and anxiety. Welcome, Babugele Makaya. You're still watching Sisters We Can, and I'm your host, Umahlako Lady and Mohowe. I still have Osis Lesego and my beautiful co-host in studio. Osis Lesego, you mentioned something before we went on the ad break. Oguti anxiety ne depression differ kanjani. When you spoke about the anxiety, I could relate, because mina, I worry about the future. Do you know right now we are in 2022 ne? Already I'm thinking about 2025. Ngizobe ngikuphi, ngizobe nginabantwana abayingaki, ngizobe sengi, you know, and I'm thinking, I don't even know if I'm going to be alive tomorrow. Why am I even stressing about that? You can imagine how many people go through that. Because I'm sitting here today, but I'm already worried about tomorrow. You know, because you're anxious, how do I handle that? How do I calm myself down? Because it gets worse to a point where I'm even starting to sleep. I could be sleeping, but in Ngondo yami nayisebenza full time. They do abantu bathi kimi, "But bowulele ngithi bengilele mara bengalalanga." Because I'm sleeping, but my mind is waking. I'm thinking about, tomorrow I must wake up and do this. And how do I calm myself down and make sure ukuthi matla focus on just today? How do I tell my mind ukuthi we are in 2022 and we are not in you know, understand what I mean? Just because it's a struggle, guys. And it makes me, I'm a very happy person by nature. But because of this anxiety, one minute I want 100. I'm always feeling sad these days, guys. I don't know. When I'm with people, Mara, I'm a failure. I can't Range Rover, you know. So how do I make sure that I stay balanced, and how do I stay balanced?
Okay. So in NLP, we believe that every behavior, it serves a positive intention. So as you are talking, what I'm hearing is that you are worried about your future. And I mean, it's how we are raised. oh, in Nagare, if you don't have a plan or where do you see yourself 5 years,
5 years from now.
And we also have people
I just like that
who-
question.
Yes, because you don't have power over that. You don't have power over that. But again, you want to live a life of intention. And I think that's where maybe for you, you should try and balance both. So, okay, maybe instead of you just sitting and worrying about where will I be and all of that, because who's going to create that life for you?
If I don't do it myself.
So you can just sit and create a plan for yourself, but also balancing it. I don't have control over everything. And also what I like when we do coaching lead client, we look at other things because nakongwe it could be you have a vision but it seems too big.
Yeah.
It seems too big, it seems impossible. But if you can have people by Lohore, they're already doing what you're doing. Ba go fe mentorship or ba bontshe something that you can model what they're doing, then it will help you. Another thing you have we talk about goals, the smart goal. Once you the smart goal it will focus that anxiety because now it's a picture and then is it attainable now? So you will write and then look at also the steps that in itself it will choose focus that anxiety. But it's also reframing your mind because every now and then that thing because I get it.
Yeah.
It's the program. Yes. What about this? What about that? Then you tell yourself, okay, happen to the drawing board. What can I control? And again,
But what if it's difficult to define what you can control? Because in most situations,
Exactly.
I also believe in the fact that passion, but whatever that you think you are or the goals, do you think you can reach them because of whatever that you're looking for? Can you be able to handle it? Is it something that you love? Is it a passion that you have, or you just anxious about reaching that goal, but then you know very well that this is not my thing? Because I believe that for people to be anxious, it's when they're anxious, it's when they actually having goals that are above them. Yes, that are confused. They're like you don't know, but then you want to have it, but then you know very well that you are not.
Yeah.
You even can't because it's not actually your passion, but then it's just something that you've seen someone doing, and you feel like, you know what, if he has reached it or she has reached there, I can also reach there, and then you start planning without even having a direction. So I wanna believe that it's something to do with that as well, for people to actually be less anxious and less depressed.
But sometimes you want to break generational curses, right? Sometimes you want to do milestones. Sometimes you aim really, really high, but for a good reason, because you want to fall on the stars, you know? Some of us dream about things that even if you tell somebody, they'll be like, no. Some of us have concept that, I mean, for one, like, you can
comes in. That's why I'm saying people have to be careful.
Yeah.
That's where the awareness comes.
But I wanna define the word of, this is not a person who's sane enough to say, okay, really this makes sense or this doesn't make sense. For me, if I want to say that I want to meet Oprah tomorrow and I'm determined to say I'm going to meet Oprah tomorrow, it's very difficult for a person to just say, I know that won't happen, you know. I'm going to do things, but sometimes I say, okay, I'm going to give myself 5 years. And then 6 years pass it down and like, I'm an awful person.
Yeah.
How can I reach that? But life happens,
And
you know.
you're going to depression
depression.
because of
Yeah.
you both are how also you attain.
That's why I'm saying you have to plan what you know that you can.
But if you cannot,
that's the thing.
yeah.
But I don't want to be limited. Like I don't want to be limited. So if I'm planning what I know what I can attain, then
Then
what
not
happens
planning,
to
it's gonna happen.
sky is the limit, you know?
That's why you need to know yourself. That's why I was
I
trying
think
to
for
say
me,
that.
for one, why is a mental health or why it's a chemical imbalance or whatever that we want to call it, is that whatever makes sense to others doesn't make sense to me, right? So I can see myself in a great situation where I'm flourishing, but somebody can just say, oh, you haven't done so much actually, you know, there's 1, 2, 3, you need to do. And for also, I can be very accomplished, but I do not see that, you know. So for me is, even if I say, okay, tomorrow I want to sell, for instance, 100 pairs of dresses or pants or shoes or whatever, but I don't even know how to sell. But I'm saying this is my way out and I need to do it, you know, because life has pushed me to this corner. But how do I then able myself to say, okay, listen, I need to commit, I need to fall in love with it? Because sometimes, so what are the techniques, what are the everyday tools that a normal human being can?
I think, you know what, let's take a short break. Please remember it. Please remember that question. But Bugele, please stay tuned. We'll be back after a short break. Welcome back, Babugile Makaya. We're still with Sistas We Can, and we're still talking about anxiety and depression. Sistas We, before we went on the ad break, what are the tools or techniques that you can use to cope with anxiety?
Okay, just taking it from the discussion we were having before the break, I think the most important thing that people need to be aware of is that you need to be able to separate your being from your doing. So, as much as we have goals, we want to be, you know, these wonderful people, break generational curses, achieve the impossible and all of that. At the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, when you are looking at a goal, there's also the element of personal development. So the reason why you don't have that thing, it's because of the state that you are in. So obviously, as much as, you know, you will take steps, let's say, you want to get into a profession, a thing, so you know you have to apply and you know go attend this and all of that. But again, the question is, who do you need to be in order to achieve that? So the part of having people who inspire you, people who are already doing what you want to do in Ghana, where now you have to look at them and also have them share their story. How did they get to where they got? And I think the most important thing is just to understand, Hori, this thing you cannot do it on your own. So you need other people to assist you. So you need to have resources, and resources are in the form of money, people, information, energy as well. And I think since we are talking about depression and anxiety, one of the key things that I picked up from last week's show is that you are talking about knowing yourself, being self-aware and all of that, but it's also about self-mastery. You need to master yourself. So I'll give you an example with myself. I'm an introvert. So understanding what an introvert is will help you, because I know that energy for na. So in the morning, I have to budget my energy. Okay, I'm going to an open plan office. I need to make sure, avoid this, avoid that. Every now and then, go to the bathroom, take a breather, and then come back. One of the things that I did, I remember I was not ready to buy a car, but I had to get a car because taxi would overwhelm me. Because I'm from work, to everywhere, come taxi with people, and I'm depleted. Things like, for example, I have a practice, so I help people, but I'm an introvert. So they take energy from me. What do I do to replenish? Nahana ka phone. Phone ifela memory, ifela battery, ifela ing. So the same with us. You need to exercise. You need to listen to music, do things that make you happy. Have people, eat healthy, have people by Longhore, they bring positivity into your life, not just people who take from you. And I think if you can do that, then it will.
And again, as you speak like this, I'm thinking about character. Like, you need to understand who you are. Like, this thing comes in a lot.
Yeah, true.
Like, you need to know your character. As you say, an introvert, you need to know likes to be... Me, I'm different because that's where I want to be. Where we're not feeling know they're draining.
Oh, but okay,
yeah, it's just a matter of character. Like, you need to understand your character.
Energy again, when I was listening, I want to come to it again. At the same time, as much as we want to, some people they give it, some they receive it. also learn to protect it. Wabona na I give off myself a lot. Na ke tla be ke araba phone ka 1 a.m. Exactly. But now I'm learning, you know. Ka taba ya phone ne, na ne ke answer each and every call. Oh, Osmahlako, because remember, sisters, we're running a mentorship program for young girls, so there's always stories with them. I'm learning. Gore ke ipotsa hore, I'm not going to answer this call. Or Boingi asende WhatsApp, I'm not going to respond to Boingi right now. And I can take it online. These are the things that I had to learn over time. This is how I protect myself not to go through anxiety. Because so that, but just me hearing those bad news, already my energy. So I'm learning lately to say, you know what? Who do I respond to? How can I check out which one is important, which one is not? And if I don't want to respond to anybody, at that moment, I'm learning you cannot pour from an empty cup. You need to recharge. So we always talking. We always have advice. Sometimes when, as an NLP practitioner, as a life coach, you also need to get a time where you say, you know what, I also need to go and see another life coach. I also need to go and see another kind of so that you can also, that's why now from time to time, after dealing with the mentees, I call her or I call Bungi. What do you think? Or offload. So these are my two safe space where, because you don't want to invite a lot of people in your space.
Yeah, you can't.
Because it's going to cause depression at the end of the day. And another thing is really avoiding this whole thing of, you know, putting yourself under unnecessary pressure. At the nice point, you
want this, you want that.
Yeah, but
you want
you know, at the age of 27, I'm 36 years old. Mr. Right and I don't know.
It comes to a point of expectation.
Expectations.
Can we also talk about phobias though? You know, as an adult, you develop certain phobias that all of a sudden you are scared of a lift, but you've been doing that for so long. Or all of a sudden you are scared of an activity that you bring from when you were a child, you know?
As I'm hearing it, it's like we needed this one.
Yes, but Leon, it can
It's a nice topic again.
Fear, because fear can stop you from doing a lot of things. But also, just before Uto answer, this thing, what are other mental illnesses? Because anxiety and depression falls under mental health. What are other ones that we haven't spoken about so that we prepare for other shows in the future to say, I'm sure there are other mental disorders that...
Even under these topics, anxiety, depression, there's other mental illnesses here, or the categories that are bipolar. And you hear people, we have this way of calling people Dilo just loosely.
Yes. Especially women. Especially women. Close to your periods. Close to your periods. You're called your bipolar. You've got mood swings.
But you need to be diagnosed by a psychologist. Yeah, you can't just say it's bipolar. A psychologist. Le psychiatrist again. So another thing in our profession, and I think it's a lot of professions, especially it's this thing of information now, internet, it's everywhere. And people end up diagnosing themselves and all of that, or even using those diagnoses to excuse a certain behaviors in themselves. So if a psychologist still asks how to diagnose it,
don't diagnose yourself.
Don't diagnose yourself. Or don't diagnose other people.
Guys, we've run out of time. Thank you so much, Osile, because I wonder if we didn't have this topic, I can say we're learning every day. Thank you so much, my lovely ladies, my beautiful co-hosts. Thank you so much, Babugile Makaya. Please stay tuned for another episode next week.